Hey, welcome back to the channel where we explore the creative uses of AI. Today we're going to go back and look at one particular feature on a site called PromeAI, which I actually featured here on the channel a couple of weeks ago, which is a site that combines a lot of AI graphics tools together in a way that I see nobody else doing. And it's just so much fun to get in there and play with all the tools because of how they're interconnected. But today I want to show you one tool in particular, which I showed you in the original video briefly, as I did all the sections in this site. But this particular one I keep going back to. I spend more time on this site in general using all of these tools than any other site AI related. Way more time than Midjourney or Leonardo or any of the others that combine a lot of tools together. And I hope that after I get a chance to show you some more of these features of this site, you'll see why I'm so freaking excited about it. The more I play in here and the quality of the images I get out, the more I'm realizing that this is a fabulous deal for a creative person who just wants to create. So when you first get to PromeAI, you'll have all sorts of choices here. We're going to go straight to Creative Fusion. And this allows you to take two different images and blend them together in a variety of ways. And in the first video I did, I barely scratched the surface of what you can do here. So today I want to do more of a deep dive and show you all the different parameters you can use to create really amazing images that I just don't know you could do in another way as easily as you can do it here. As I mentioned, Prome is basically a fancy front end to various types of stable diffusion technology. So if you're familiar with stable diffusion, and especially if you work in the back end and things like Comfy UI or Automatic 1111, you're going to understand what this site is doing here and probably even be able to recognize some of these tools in action. For example, in this Creative Fusion section, we're basically using IP adapters or image prompt adapters that analyze what's in each image and then based on other instructions, tell it how to combine these images. So what you saw at the beginning of this video was obviously before and afters of images running through this process. So let's just get into it. So along the top of just about every page in this site is this bar here, which gives you access to all of your assets. And these are pictures that you've uploaded or created that you've decided you want to keep and have access to. So you put them in your assets so that you can draw them out easily. This is one of the things I really love about this platform is all of the work you do, everything that you create is so easily accessible. When I'm working in Stable Diffusion and I want to blend some images together, I got to go find it on a folder somewhere, or I'm just browsing around. Or sometimes if I want to run a particular process on an image, now I have to load an entirely different tool or wait for something to initialize. Here, everything's just ready to go. Anyway, I digress. So with Creative Fusion, the first thing you're going to do is choose an image that you want to change, and then you're going to choose the style. So you can either choose images you already have in your assets up here, or you can choose any image that is in your history of any area of any section of the site. So I should clarify that anytime you create an image or an animation here, it stays available to you in the history section for 30 days. As it says, history records are saved for 30 days, but please save them to your assets in a timely manner. So if you don't want any of these images that you create to cycle out in 30 days, you want to add them to your assets folder so that you can use them later. Until then, you've got access to all the images that you've created in the last 30 days in every individual section. So for example, in sketch rendering, I have my own history of images that I've done there. In AI Image Generator, I have my own history of images I've done here, and I can bring any of these images into Creative Fusion to do something with. For example, let's just choose this image here. We can hover over Edit and just choose Creative Fusion. This will automatically load the image into the Creative Fusion section ready to go. And now all we have to do is select a style. If I just went with the default here, I bet you could imagine what would happen. We're going to click Generate, and in a few seconds, we're going to get a merge of that face in a wooden style. So pretty much what we expected, right? Before, after. But that's just on the default setting of style image, and render mode is also very important. But let's choose a different style that's something a little bit more interesting. If I click on style image, they have a lot of style images to choose from. And I'm just going to scroll through these, and you can see that any of these styles I choose will be impressed upon the picture. So this is a very distinct style. So let's choose this. We'll notice that when we choose a style, it actually automatically chooses a render mode that would be appropriate for that style. So let's just look at this real quick. If I choose precise, then whatever's generated is going to stick exactly to the outline of the original image. Let's do that so I can show you what I'm talking about. So we're going to choose this style, render mode. We'll put the style intensity right about in the middle, and we won't do anything here in the prompt section, although we could. If we wanted to modify this style a little bit more, add maybe a graphic element or a location or a color, we could do that here. Right now, I'm just going to go with what's default and click on Generate. Okay, there you go. Again, as expected. And you'll see that for the most part, and you'll see what I'm talking about here with it following the outline exactly. The basic features here, they line up precisely. Let's choose the next render mode, which is outline, and see what difference it makes. And I'm going to just up the intensity just for fun. And let's change the style too. Let's go to something like this. Click generate, and there you go. But you'll see it's taken like creative license. It follows the basic outline of her face, but now we've got these little, I don't know, wing things or helmet things. Basically, as you go through these parameters, you give the AI more creative control. Let's take a leap up here to concept. We'll change the style to something like this, and here's the result we get here. So let's do something a little more interesting. Let's use some different types of images. What I want to do is I want to combine this image with something maybe with a character in it. So I'm going to load this here. I'm going to click this button to flip it. And then I just need another image to blend in here somehow. So let's just create one. We got the tools to do it right here. A surreal 3D octopus. And we've got all these styles to choose from. Let's see, conceptual art. How about something like this? Knock the artistry up and we'll click generate. Okay, cool. We got this. So we're going to click edit. We're going to take this over to Creative Fusion. We do want this image here as the style. So we're going to go back to style image, click on custom, and now we can choose that from our assets or load an entirely different one from our hard drive or whatever. So we're going to click on that. We're going to do the render mode as concept here, because what we're going to do is compare concept and mixing. So let's just keep this in the middle here. We've got an octopus, we've got a studio, and let's click generate and see what happens. Okay, wow, that's a little crazy. I think maybe too much of the style. So let's pull back on the style slider like way down, and click on generate. Wow, okay, that's crazy. All right, so that's using concept. This time, let's use mixing, incorporating both the style and content of the two images. And we'll slide this up a little bit more and click on generate. Okay, wow. Alrighty, so just for fun, let's click on outline on here and see what it does to the octopus, because in theory what it should do is apply this style to this octopus. Okay. That's cool. So for applying quick styles like that, I just haven't seen anything faster. Let's jump over to free pick and get an image that we can play with here. Okay, let's take this one here. So we'll just save this image real quick, and then I will just bring this into Creative Fusion, and let's get a little crazy. You can use any image on your hard drive as a style or anything you can create. So let's get something a little crazy with these people here. What if we use an image like this, use the outline mode, keep the style intensity right where it is, and click generate? Okay, well that's a little messed up. How about we bring the style intensity down? If you're familiar with working with the back end of Stable Diffusion at all, you can think of the style intensity as sort of a denoise strength. The lower the value, the less the actual style is applied. So even though this is borderline inappropriate, you can see what it's doing here. Let's use an image like that that has a very particular style. I'm going to stay with outline because we do want to stay true to the original form of the image for right now. There we go. That's nice. See, so one image, like I wouldn't know how to prompt that particular style, but with one image, I can do that. Let's try this one here. Again, I think it works better with the style intensity low so we don't have something crazy happen. But in a second, we'll go full blast on the style and we'll see what happens. Oh, that's good. Don't you think? So before we go full blast on the style and see what it does to this image, let's add a prompt and put them somewhere else, like, I don't know, at the beach, and just see what happens. Okay, so it did it. And I have to crop the bottom of this image because it just does not want to be appropriate. Okay, so let's go full blast with the slider like I said and click on generate. Remember, the original image has a guy with a snail on his head, so it'll be interesting to see if that transfers over. Yes, it does. Look at that. Okay, that's so much better than I thought it was going to turn out. So in these cases where I get something that I actually like and I'd love to see what it would look like if it was in more detail, I use the HD Upscaler. And I know this video isn't about the HD Upscaler, but because there's so many upscaling videos coming out because of all the cool new technologies with varying price ranges and capabilities, you really got to take a look at this one, which is part of the premium membership here. So there's a couple of ways I can initiate this HD Upscale. I can click on Edit and click on HD Upscaler, or I can go to download the image and HD Upscaler will be one of the choices. So I could get normally upscaled images here in even higher resolution than what the HD Upscaler does. But the HD Upscaler is working some more magic and actually utilizing AI in different ways to add some creativity to the image, like some of the other upscalers that you may be seeing out there right now. So let's go ahead and click HD Upscaler. It automatically loads it in. And you don't have a ton of choices here, so it's easy to get started. You have two different model templates, one for realistic and one for anime. I generally like the outcome of the natural anyway. I'm just more of a realistic person. I don't do a lot of anime. So I'm going to use this. And for as far as creative options, you have low, middle, and high. If you do low, the overall look of this thing is going to look almost exactly the same. You're just going to get more detail. If you do creative options middle, it'll still look pretty much the same. In other words, if you've got a face there, it'll still be recognizable as that face. But the details may be enhanced a little with AI adding a little bit more creativity based on what it sees in this image. And when you go high, as far as faces, all bets are off, but you're still going to get the same basic image. And you're going to also see, hopefully, some really cool details added in. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use high right now. And you can also see that there's a place for a prompt. So if I wanted to add more detail in this, if I wanted this to stay pretty true to the original, I would use the prompt that created it. However, I didn't use a prompt to create this. I used Creative Diffusion. I'm just going to leave this right here and click Generate. Almost every time I do this, this message comes up and it says the image that I'm working with here is either below 768 by 768 or it's above 2048. And in this case, it's below because it hasn't been upscaled at all. All this is saying is, we'll take care of this for you. Just click continue. While we're waiting for that, I thought I'd show you an example on another one that I've done. And again, with the really cool thing about this interface is when you're looking at an image and you're using the slider to go back and forth, you can use the mouse wheel to zoom in. So of course, here's the before. When you zoom over, you see the details that it put in there. Okay, so here's our image upscaled. Here's the slider. So before and after. Well, the arm is a little messed up, but I guess it was messed up going in. I didn't really notice. But there's definite changes. Unfortunately, I can't scroll up on this. All I can do is zoom in. But let's just do. Look at the details it added here. Again, this was the high creative option. Okay, this notwithstanding, you can see details more of the material in the collar and really in the face. They just look more like she looks more, this face looks more feminine now, which is what it should. This has more detail, looks more realistic. It's just phenomenal. Let's run it again, but this time let's use the low creative options and see how things are different. And again, while we're waiting, let's look at this example. I love how this added such great detail to like the hands. And then it really shows that, hey, this is like a leather material. This is way more than just a normal upscale. This is a re-rendering and it's amazing. Okay, so just right here, before we even zoom in on this, you can see that this is much more like the original, which we can see by hovering over. Like when I hover over this little half moon here, it toggles between the original and the upscale. You can barely tell a difference, whereas over here, here's the upscaled and then the original. So you can see a definite difference here. So let's zoom in on this. So you'll see that she still looks like a guy, which is what the original image did, but we also have better details in the material. So we got the detailing, we just didn't get the creative option. So I hope that all makes sense now. There are several options in this site that you can use to take a sketch or a drawing and turn it into something more colorful or realistic. And Creative Fusion is definitely one of those options. You saw this briefly in the opening video, but let's say I take our logo here and I'm going to take it over to Creative Fusion. But this time, instead of choosing a style from an image, I'm only going to use a prompt and I'm going to say embroidery on a pillow and just see what happens. Now I chose the outline mode, which probably wasn't a great idea because where's the pillow going to go if it sticks to the outline? But let's just see, I could be wrong. So this was a mistake because I didn't remove this style, which is what I should have done. We are seeing evidence of an attempted embroidery and even a pillow. Let's do something like use a cat as a style. We'll choose soft edge for this one. We won't change anything else. We'll bring the style intensity down so it doesn't change the shape of the logo too much. Click generate and see what happens. Okay, that is awesome and unexpected because I didn't realize that the embroidery command would still be in there when I changed the style, but there we have it. We have the embroidery on a pillow and we used the cat style. So wow, that is a great example of the blend. Look at that. What if we kept the embroidery thing, embroidery on a pillow, and changed this to this image here, which I don't even know how to describe it. That is so cool. All right, let's take the embroidery out of there. Let's just use the generator to create a sketch of something that then we can use Creative Fusion with. Crude black and white drawing of a horse drinking from a pond. We'll choose the art style. We'll go down here and find something sketchy. Let's just do this one here We'll leave everything there. It says artistry. It automatically went down to 0. I'm just going to go with the default and see what it does. Okay, so now we've got that image. Oh, I actually wanted it to be a little rougher, but that's okay. We'll take this and we'll go to Creative Fusion. We'll choose this crazy model here. We'll leave it at outline. I mean, look at that. Come on. That's cool. One click to that. You zoom in, it could definitely use some upscaling. So let's do it because I can't resist. This is a great example to show you from here's what we got out of it, and let's see what we can do with the HD upscale. So I'm just going to click here, click HD upscaler. Again, I'm going to go creative options high, keep the template at natural. All right, here it is upscaled. Obviously, way better detail. I mean, really, those plants. I mean, look at the detail it added to the dirt there. And over here, these plants. Did you really study what happened here? It's amazing. But I know this isn't about the HD upscaler, but I just can't resist. The tools are so well integrated, sometimes you cannot resist going, I wonder what would happen if I tried to animate this. And so you click over to edit and you click on image to video, and before you know it, you're clicking generate and you're going to have an animation. Because it's just that simple. It's just that convenient. It's right there. Nothing else to load. All right, back in Creative Fusion. Now you may have noticed sometimes when I popped up the render mode option, this one here, facial, blend the face from the first image with the second image. Let's see what it'll do. So let's get a couple of very different pictures. We'll download this one and we'll put it here in the first slot. Let's get a guy so we can obviously tell the face swap happened. We'll grab this one. Before we bring it in here, let's switch this. Okay, so now we have two faces, and let's remember what it said. Blend the face from the first image with the second image. So this face should go over here. We'll put the style intensity right in the middle. We won't put anything in the prompt. We'll click the facial blend mode and we will click generate. I'm not sure why we got two of these gals over here, but the face definitely went over there. Let's try this again. We'll bring the style intensity down. Okay, this is a weird result. I don't know what is going on, but it's interesting. Okay, well now that did nothing except basically switch the image completely. Just for fun, let's just flip these, bring this down to about the middle again and click generate. So what really happened here? So the first was supposed to go on the second. Well, I guess that is what happened. So it's not just the face, they did the hair too. Okay, I get it. It's not just a weird face swap, but the entire head switched out. So that's really what you want. I'm gonna switch this over and I'm gonna do my own face because it's sometimes abstract to see how face swaps work when it's not your face or a face that you're really intimate with. So let me just choose a headshot. Now it'll be interesting to see what happens. So I guess in theory, my head should appear over here on a red shirt. All right, well, I'm gonna say that nobody needed to see this, but it actually did capture the features of my face pretty well, but we won't be upscaling this one. Let's play more with mixing. What would happen if we took this woman and this really cool little jacuzzi thing, clicked on mix and put it right in the middle? Again, we've got two of her. And we've got her in the room. We don't really see the jacuzzi. So what if we start using text prompts here and say, a woman in a jacuzzi in a cabin in the winter because it's snowing. Now let's see what happens if we say mix. Well, that's interesting and what we asked for. It approximates that woman. Thank you for staying suitable for work. And it puts her basically in this cabin. So this original image here is more portrait than landscape. So that's why I think we don't see many of the details. Let's go back, remix this one, but instead of using mixing, let's use concept. Okay, so now you can see the difference here. Get the general pose of her and put her in there, although the look isn't really the same. Let's change this image to me, and this time let's choose the depth. It says suited for real life photos or 3D model screenshots. Well, I got a real life photo there of me, and they're both real life photos, so let's just see what it does. We'll keep the style intensity in the middle this time for the test, and then maybe we'll play with the slider. Okay, I realized when I did this that I had the prompt was still set to woman in a hot tub, so now I've changed it to man. I'm seeing what else would I like to maybe change here. Let's try this again. We got the depth mode again. We'll take the style intensity down. We'll make sure this is a man in a jacuzzi, and we'll click generate. So depth obviously keeps the same shape as the original image. Because it's such a close-up, there's no room for any of the details of the room. I wonder if we switched this and this took on the properties of a human face. I have to see. Okay, well, it didn't take on properties of human skin. And it really seems to be more borrowing from that other image with the fur coat in it, but still such a legit interesting effect. What if we just went to the image generator and said, a slice pizza attacking an old west town? How about Fantasy 13, artistry up there? I just want to see it happen. We're going to go 21:9 for an aspect ratio. I like the image, although the pizza isn't really attacking the Old West town, but it's a cool Old West town though. Wonder what it would look like upscaled. I wonder what it would look like animated. I mean, that's the thing with this tool. It's so easy just to try something on the spur of the moment. Creative inspiration. You can just do anything at any time with any tool with no muss and no fuss. If you look at some of the examples other people have done, here's another use case where the before image was just a 3D rendering of a bedroom, and then over here they had an actual picture of a nice bedroom, and they fused them together and they got this. Here's another example with like a font or an image of a font. We got 2024 here, which turns into this because of this image here. Take a room like this, add an image like this, and we get over here. Even if you have some experience with some of these blending tools, I invite you to go give this a try over at Prome, because even if you're familiar with tools that blend images like this, or you run Stable Diffusion at home with any number of interfaces you've got, I still find myself using more than those because it's just so quick and easy, and I've got quick access to all the assets I've ever done. If I want to try to animate something, if I want to upscale it, it's all right there. And it really does a great job. You've got a lot of options for blending, and you can just play with it. There's so many ways to experiment with it. And this is just one of the reasons why Prome has got so much of my attention and time when it comes to AI generation and experimenting with creative ideas and creating source images for other animations and other creative projects. It's just such a great all-in-one. I really hope you at least go give it a try. I'd love to hear from you about what you think of this tool, because I really think it doesn't get the attention it deserves. There are so many other sections of this site and tools that I will go back and focus on in future videos. If there's anything you'd like me to dive deeper into on this site or anything else related to creative AI, please let me know in the comments. And if you like this kind of content, I invite you to subscribe.
If you subscribe now, I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will look for you. I will find you. And I